is here with us. Good to see you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Let's talk about this 15-year-old boy that was stabbed in a school in Sheffield to start with. Harvey Wilgoose, your reaction?
Well, first of all, to his parents and those around him, it must be a devastating time for them, but also to the parents of children both in Sheffield schools and around the country who will be wondering when they put their child into school today, are they going to be safe? And will they be able to be reassured every day that their child is safe?
And sadly, we have to move on to Nottingham as well. Baldo Calocane, the report into what he did with his bloody rampage in the triple killing in Nottingham. Only part of the report will be published, we're told, by NHS England to protect his privacy. Thoughts on that?
Well, it's hard, isn't it? I think parents in these circumstances really do want the full picture. On any tragic circumstance, people just want more. They want to know that they've turned over every stone, they've looked at everything. And I do hope in this instance the Wes Street team will be engaged. Obviously, the NHS have made their judgment based on the rules as they see it. But perhaps the Secretary of State here can find some way that he can give more comfort to the family and to meet some of the concerns they have that they're not getting the full picture.
OK. Who do you think Keir Starmer should side with when it comes to tariffs? The EU or America?
Well, he should side with Britain. That was the whole point of us leaving the EU, is that we now have the toolkit where we can promote British interests, British consumers, and British producers. And that's really what we need. We need someone leading the country who can take that toolkit and negotiate, whether it's with the EU or with the US, but always with British interests at heart.
OK, but how do you do that when they're at loggerheads and it's the bloc is our biggest trading partner and the US is our second biggest trading partner?
Well, when you've got two people at loggerheads, the best thing is to sort of keep out of the way while they resolve their differences. And as we've seen between the US and Mexico...
Donald Trump is not as easy as that.
Well, it sort of is, really. I mean, Donald Trump is really good. He loves that. He's a deal maker. And, you know, we can pick up information every day. Like he had the tariff threat to Mexico. Mexico moved some security forces to the border, and suddenly the tariffs are on hold. President Trump, said that the EU was a big problem. The UK, he could probably sort it out. The British Prime Minister decides that's the day he's going to go and say we want to get closer to the EU. That's not sending a very good signal to
as you know, these things have been measured, organised months in advance.
Well, they are, but you know, also you've got to use your nous a little bit. And
but then you snub the EU.
Well, I'm not sure it's about snubbing. I mean, he didn't say anything yesterday. He went to the EU. We're supposed to have some
defences.
To keep
out of the way.
I'm saying he went to the EU. I would have kept out of the way. But he went to the EU, apparently to do a defence and security pact. Didn't do any of the sort. He just went all the way and had dinner and came back on that day. I think the problem that we've got with Sir Keir Starmer is he's just not a good negotiator. We've seen that in his public sector pay deals, just handing over money with nothing in return. We've seen it with the Chagos Islands. We've really got some serious questions to ask. You rightly said, Ms. Burley, we have with the US
I like you calling Ms. Burley. You can come again.
With the US and the EU at loggerheads, we really need strong, firm leadership with someone who can see a path for our country, what's in our best interests. And that's what Sir Keir Starmer should be based on. I've no doubt that behind the scenes, he's got some interesting ideas about what he wants to do. I think it's the judgment in the moment that's lacking.
Timing was difficult for him, and I'd just go back to this point. That dinner would have been in the diary for months, so he would have had to go, otherwise the EU would have seen him as snubbing them. And negotiations are always done better face-to-face, so we don't know what he said.
But he didn't do anything.
We don't know that.
Well,
may not have told us because it's not a good time to do that.
Well, maybe.
Playing into your hands.
Who knows? I would have thought that if he said, I think it's important to do a reset, I want to have a defence and security pact, I'm going to go to Brussels, you'd have expected you to come back with a little bit more than a well-fed dinner.
OK. Reform has topped a Sky News and YouGov poll for the first time, edging Labour into second place, and you are in third. Oh dear.
It's tough. It really is tough. And you know, usually when governments come in, you know, Tony Blair, David Cameron, there's a period of a honeymoon, and people say, oh, it's nice to have, we've got rid of that lot. It's nice to have a new lot in. This time it hasn't happened, has it?
It looks as though it has.
Well, Sir Keir Starmer this time has gone down. I mean, the opinion polls have gone down since the election, not
talking about you guys.
No, I'm coming to that, but because it's a context, right? So people are very frustrated. They were very frustrated with the Conservative Party ahead of the election. That's why the Conservative Party ended up with its worst result. Now under new leadership, clearly we've got to learn lessons. That's what Kemi Badenoch has said, and it takes time for us to restore trust with the British public. But the public now have seen the new government. They're very frustrated. They think that Rachel Reeves is out of her depth. They think that Keir Starmer is a bit all over the place. They're very frustrated. They're not yet ready to say, we can see the Conservatives under new leadership are setting a new direction. And
yeah, they're equally frustrated with you to the extent where you're now third in the polls.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were ever third in the polls?
I think it was last week, wasn't it? But I mean, there is this time.
Glad you see it as light-hearted, but no.
I don't see it as light-hearted, but I do see a difference. I can understand why, and obviously all MPs, like all MPs, we're going to talk to our electorate, and people really are frustrated, and they thought that they were going to get some positive government after election, get rid of the Conservatives and get some positive governing. What they found is actually governing is difficult, and this lot aren't really doing a very good job. So people are very frustrated, and that's what the opinion polls are expressing. I can't control how the public feel about this government. We can hold them to account. We hold them to account, the government to account in Parliament. What the Conservative Party needs to do is to learn the lessons from 14 years in office, do the hard work of looking at the principles that can guide us into office again, and then communicate to the British public so we earn back their trust. And that will not happen overnight.
Or in 8 months, because it's 8 months in and you're third in the polls.
They
think that reform, a little ragtag group, 5 of them, are doing better in the polls than you are.
Well, you said it yourself, a ragtag group. So that is a frustration. That's this indication of frustration that people will reach for that. But ultimately, the lesson that the people, I think, have in polls is when it comes to the poll, the general election, is they choose a party for government. And when it comes to that moment, if the Conservative Party have done the hard work we started to do, and we've earned back the trust of the British public, they'll put their trust in us again.
It's good to see you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.